Welcome to Yellow with Susu. I'm your host, Susu. Tonight's episode is Speed and Thrill with car enthusiast Hishy Mansoor. Hey, Hishy.
Hey, what's happening?
Thanks so much for joining our podcast this evening.
Of course, of
So,
course.
so we are so happy to have you on, and I'm just so excited to hear about your experience with cars and racing. So I kind of just wanted to dive into this. Hishy, can you maybe tell us a little bit about your background and what sparked your passion for cars?
Ever since I was younger, I mean, my parents always used to tell me like I'm always playing with like the little toy cars and always always wanted to buy some more at the store whenever we went to the store. So I guess really young started with cars. You know, I love cars since I was young. Always been around, family with cool cars, and my best friend growing up also a huge car guy. His dad was a huge car guy. So just people all around me, to be honest. Just everything around me was always cars, 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 and it just never left.
Oh, wow. So is that how you first got involved in car racing, or what drew you to like the kind of like adrenaline pumping type of sport?
Just being around my older friends always were out on Woodward, always cruising, always racing. Um, just growing up around it, really. Seeing my friends go to the track, seeing my friends, have like the fastest cars around. It was just really cool, and I always was like, I want that. I want a fast car. I want a fast car. I want to go racing.
And go over. And can you maybe, for like some people out there listening, what is the Woodward Cruise? Now, you are mainly based in Michigan, but you do a lot of traveling, right?
Yeah. So in Michigan, Woodward is like the go to spot if for anybody that wants to see some sweet cars, right? Old schools, new schools. It's just basically a street that people have cruised on for many years before I was even born. People meet up, people hang out, people set up races, people gather and talk about cars, eat food, hang out. It's a chill spot basically for anybody who loves cars.
Right on. And then, I was going to ask you, can you maybe share some of your most memorable racing experiences?
I would have to say it's at the track. I mean, that's where a lot of the memories are made, and a lot of my goals were made. Made happen. I've always wanted to run a 9 second pass. I've always wanted to, win a trophy, win a class at one of these events. And I would have to say probably Bowling Green. Me and the family, friends, we all traveled to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is about 10-hour drive from where I live.
Oh,
And
wow.
won my first trophy after driving
Oh,
10 hours. So it was a huge accomplishment for sure.
oh, wow. So you were actually like on the track and it was a complete competition and you ended up winning?
Oh yeah. There was over 30,
Oh,
30 cars in competition that
wow.
weekend.
Congratulations. I mean, that must take a lot of effort to do something like that.
It took 2 years, 2 years of
Oh,
going to the
wow.
track and figuring the car out. When you get into these high horsepower cars, you have to respect the power, you have to respect the road and everything because it's not a joke. It can be very dangerous for sure. So, after 2 long years, I finally was able to figure my car out, and and win the trophy.
Wow. And that was you talking about safety and understanding the vehicle. What I was going to say is like what are some of the challenges you faced as somebody who races cars, and how have you actually overcome them?
You just have to learn your car. You have to have more seat time. Um, I've always learned that when you uh, when you first buy a car, you don't know everything about that car. You have to learn it. You have to drive it. You have to be behind the wheel, and the more you drive your car, the more you learn it, the better you're going to be at driving it. Basically. So
So basically understanding the vehicle, the car parts, your engine, the horsepower and everything that
mhm.
goes into it.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool. Well, I was going to ask you because I know you were mentioning like some of the tracks and your trophy and going out to Kentucky. Are there any specific other races or tracks that kind of hold like a special place in your heart?
I I just recently went to North Carolina, and I've been to a lot of tracks all across the country. And North Carolina was special. ZMAX Dragway is the name of the track, and
ZMAX Dragway.
ZMAX Dragway. Yep. Shout out ZMAX Dragway. That track was the dopest track I've ever been to. They were sending cars down four at a time. And what I mean by that is typically the tracks that you go to, they're just two cars racing side by side. Okay.
Okay.
At ZMAX Dragway, they had four lanes wide and were sending down four cars at a time, which is something I've never seen before.
So they're
So
kind of taking it to the next level.
yeah, it's that track is, like I said, the dopest track I've ever been to, hands down.
Wow.
So, and I thought Indy was cool, which actually I'm actually going to Indy this Thursday. I'll be traveling there.
Oh, very cool.
2 days. So that's the next big event.
Very cool.
But Indy is dope too. Indy is like the home of racing. That's a race town in Indianapolis. So yeah, ZMAX Dragway, 100% number one, and then Indy is a close second.
Oh, very cool. Well, that's what it's kind of like. I've always found it fascinating. You're like the real Fast and Furious, like you're real Fast and Furious with Hishy. That's what we should have called the episode. But no, I was going to ask you too. Like, so what is it about, like car racing that actually excites you the most?
What excites me the most about racing cars? Just the adrenaline. You know,
Okay.
The
Just being on the track.
Sometimes like when you're driving these cars, it's like sometimes I say to myself, like, how do they make something like this? You know, it's like so, like, it's crazy. It's so fast. Like, these cars are so fast. It's like, I can't believe that they actually make something like that, you know? I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, because you sound passionate, not just about the sport, but again, like, you admire the vehicle. Hishy, I was going to actually ask you too, how do you prepare physically and mentally for races?
Physically and mentally, basically, before I started going to the racetrack, it was kind of a free for all. We just raced wherever we could, right? So when you start racing at the racetrack, it's totally different because everyone's watching you. Everyone's looking at you. You got your team watching. You got the people in the stands watching. So you're a lot more nervous when you're racing at the track versus racing like on the street or, it's a lot more nerve wracking, basically.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
At the track,
so like
yeah.
the pressure of being on the track and the pressure of the fans and the people and the event just kind of going on.
Yeah, it's a lot more nerve-wracking racing at the track than racing on the street. Is what it comes down to. So, and that takes time, right? So when you race at the track, especially when you don't race there often, you probably are not gonna. You feel like you're not doing as well, or you get nervous and slip up, or something happens, to the car. But over time, once you start going to the track a lot, you get more comfortable. Right.
Okay. You get like accustomed to it, like it just becomes like more routine.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
the beginning, and so to answer your question, it's just something you learn over time, right? It's not really something that you try to practice like before a race or anything like that. It's just over time. It just comes natural. You get more comfortable.
Well, that's what I was saying, because you kind of like that's the rush of the adrenaline is when you're racing and then when you're on the track and everything, right?
Absolutely.
So it's leading to that. I mean, is there a way, or how do you stay focused under pressure?
I try to make it to be fun. at the end of the day, it's a hobby, it's a sport, you know. So I try not to get too upset. I mean, nobody likes to lose. I'm a very competitive person. I don't like to,
Right.
but I try to make it. At the end of the day, you're not going to beat everybody. You're never going to be the fastest. There's always going to be somebody faster than you. So
Mhm.
I don't like to put myself under pressure, or make myself feel like, this is like a must win type thing. It's just, I go out there, I try to have fun, with it. And if you win, you win. If you don't, you get them next time.
Right. You kind of like set your own pace, which I was going to ask you, like what is, I'm sure you have so many, and anybody out there who's listening, Hishy has a flock of very cool vehicles, like some awesome stuff. And, I've seen like some of your races, and just, again, just being the car enthusiast that you are, like you really are involved. I was going to ask you, like, what is, maybe like, what's your favorite vehicle or car, or like, what's your favorite one to drive?
I love my C6 ZR1, and a lot of people will say I'm crazy for this, because the C7 ZR1, which is my 2019, the newer model, it's nice. It's nicer. It looks nicer from the outside. It has the presence. The interior is nicer. However, the C6 ZR1 just has a soft spot in my heart. It's a very raw car. The newer cars are a little too computerized for my taste, and I like to be able to have full control of my car, and that's what I love about the C6 ZR1 Corvette, is that it's all driver, right?
Okay.
The newer cars has just too much technology, and it does too much, if that makes sense.
So I know you've put a lot of work into your vehicles, from, like you said, just building engines. What is the fastest that you have gone on a track?
So on a racetrack, the fastest I've gone was 150 miles an hour.
No
But
way.
but the me and a bunch of friends, we rented a airstrip, and we went to Arkansas, and we rented this airstrip. The airstrip was about 2 miles long, and the event was called the Standing Mile event. So basically, it's to see how fast your car can go in 1 mile from a dead stop. So you're at a complete stop, you have 1 mile to go as fast as you want, right? And every single one of my friends that day, we all hit 200 miles per hour in our car.
What?
At the airstrip. It was amazing. It was crazy. Like, that was probably one of the biggest adrenaline rushes I've ever had.
That's
Um,
so cool.
yeah.
That's so awesome. And you're saying like you and your friends, so like you guys are kind of like a team, like you travel around, you go to different cities, different states, and you guys hold events as well too, you're saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so cool. Well, I was going to ask you too, for instance, and I know, you're a family man, you're a man of faith. How has car racing influenced your life outside the track?
It's basically, um, so cars is brings a lot of people together. Cars bring a lot of people together. Um, to me, it's a family oriented sport. Everybody loves what they do. Everybody loves their cars. They all have the same passion. Nobody hates each other for like the type of cars that you choose, right? um it just, cars has always brung people together. So it's so cool to see everybody get together. uh, you know uh, from a car, I've met so many people from cars, and that have influenced me in ways that my own family have never influenced me, right?
Wow.
So it's crazy.
So
I
it's
don't
like
know
part
how
of
to
your
explain
life.
it.
So
It
so
is.
it's not even something that kind of like influences your life outside the track, but kind of like you said, like influences within your own family life, where maybe you would want to teach people in your own family one day how to race, or how to build cars and understand vehicles, and just kind of enjoy that lifestyle within itself. Like you said, it's not just outside, it's a true lifestyle that you live.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. And I was gonna ask you too, like, um, because getting behind the wheel and going to these competitions, what advice would you give to anybody who's aspiring to whether race cars or become such a car enthusiast as yourself?
Like like I was saying earlier, it's very important that you respect the road, you respect the power of your vehicle. Don't ever underestimate your vehicle. um, these cars, especially these days, are they're only getting faster. People are only getting faster, and going fast is dangerous if you don't respect the power. I've lost a lot of friends
Oh,
on cars
wow.
and bikes. And it's a dangerous sport for sure, and a lot of people get carried away, and it's very important to keep it at the track, race at the track, keep it safe, um, and just respect the power. You have
Of
to
the sport.
end the sport. Absolutely.
Okay. So basically you need to stay safe, and I really am sorry to hear like the circumstances that you said, which kind of was going to ask you as well. How has faith led you through this sport? Because like you said, you have kind of just dealt with situations where didn't end up in the best circumstances. Had that Has that made an effect on helping you keep going?
It kind of it hurt. It
Mhm.
hurt. Um, losing friends for sure. Really took the fun out of it for me for a while. Um, I kind of stepped away for a little bit, but I kind of regained it over time. I regained that the passion for it over time, but it sucked for a little bit for sure,
For a
100%.
little. So, and is that take like like how we spoke about faith and stuff? Was that like, did you also practice? Because I would imagine like you're having all this fun, and then like you said, you really do have to stay safe, and the roads, and it's a serious sport. So like having your faith lead you or whatever it is, like working on your own spirituality or building it within yourself. Did that take, like you said, like it took a little time for you to kind of come back to that to get back out on the track?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Many nights of prayer, many nights of blessings, even at work. I mean, with everything that I do, my friends around me, my family supporting me. Um, it's just it's you just have to have faith, and you just have to believe in God, and just you have to
Keep
know at the end of the day that He has a plan for all of us. So you just gotta keep living, keep doing right by Him, and just enjoy your life.
No, yeah, for sure. No, like God bless on that, because I mean, like you said, everybody only thinks about, oh, it's so exciting, but then how, like, you've kind of got given a lot of knowledge through this conversation. And I always tell people the whole point of the podcast and just the talk show and just us talking is really, and I always say this in a lot of the segments, is to fuel the mind, body, and soul. And, we only see these types of things from the outside. So really having a chance to talk to you and actually hear what is it like being on the track, and hey, safety is really important. Having your faith getting you through these moments. And like you said, just because you didn't win one competition doesn't mean that you're not going to win the next competition. But I was going to ask you this. Do you also do like drifting?
Um,
Is that part of it? Like
we
you were like,
I personally don't do the drifting.
mm-hmm.
I do have friends that do it,
They
that
do.
like that, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the events we go to at the drag strip, they actually have pits for people that do the drifting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool actually. But
That's a different technique, is to
oh
learning to
yeah,
get on the
yeah.
track, then learning how to drift is two different
Yeah,
techniques.
it's different. There's all different types of racing. A lot of people think that racing is just going in a straight line. Well, there's racing, there's drifting racing, there's road course racing, there is like your NASCAR racing, right? So there's all different kinds of racing, and not just going in a straight line, if that makes
Right.
sense. So
Well, I mean, I didn't know that because I'm sure most people like watch all the movies and they're like, oh, or like watch the drifting videos. But like you said, there are real techniques you have to learn. It is a sport. You have to take it serious if you are somebody who's interested in something like that.
absolutely,
you
absolutely.
know and you have just given us a lot of knowledge. And personally, like I said, I personally love cars. So just hearing it from yourself, who somebody who's been doing this for so many years and who is a car enthusiast and who actually does enjoy racing. Hishy, you have just been so awesome to talk to, just so much knowledge, and I'm so thankful to have you on tonight and just learn about the sport of car racing. I was going to ask you, I know you have a lot of stuff coming up. Um, is there anything we should kind of stay tuned for maybe in the next couple months?
So we got some races coming up.
Thanks so much, Hishy, for joining our podcast this evening. It was so awesome talking to you and just all the knowledge that you shared about the entire sport and just being a car enthusiast. I have personally learned so much. And for anybody out there who's listening, I would hope that, you really took that into consideration, where if you do want to start racing or get involved in that way, remember to be dedicated, stay focused, and safety is a real important part in the sport as well. But I know you have a lot of stuff going on. So I was going to ask you, like, you're on YouTube, you're pretty much like an influencer on Instagram. So if some people wanted to reach you to like maybe come in and like check an event or maybe work with you, film some stuff, how could they reach you? Where's the best place to reach you at?
So always, I'm very active on Instagram. I'm very active on Snapchat and Facebook.
Okay.
Those are my three. Those are my three social media accounts that I'm on a lot. My email's on there. People can always reach out to me via email, message me on Instagram, message me on Facebook. I'm very attentive to all of those.
Okay. What is your just so like the listeners can hear, what's your Instagram link name?
It's a Hishy 2 times with
Hishy
two
two.
S's.
Okay. How do I spell that?
HISHY. The number 2 and then times spelled out with
Oh,
2 S's.
okay, so Hishy two times. Okay, very cool. Anybody out there listening who wants to, learn a little bit more about the sport, you guys can reach out to Hishy at Hishy two times on Instagram. He's also on YouTube, so you can check out his videos. And I know you did say you have something coming up soon. Is that what it was?
We do.
Okay.
We're headed to Lapeer Dragway, which is actually in Michigan, in my hometown.
Okay.
And about an hour north of where I grew up at. There's a huge event going on there. It's called the UCM event, and there's going to be a lot of fast cars, a lot of cool cars up there. That's going to be our next big event coming up towards the end of July, last week of July. And then obviously the Woodward Dream Cruise, which is the pinnacle of car cruises. I would say probably one of the biggest cruises in the country. People come from all across the country to come to Woodward, which is again a street on in Michigan that people cruise on, and it's bumper to bumper traffic the day of the Dream Cruise, which happens second week of August. But the coolest cars come out, old schools, new schools. It's a really, really great time.
No, that's awesome. And I was going to ask you too before we head out of here. Do you have any guest shout outs?
Absolutely, got to give a shout out to the one and only CT Performance. That's the crew that's coming to all the events. That's actually the crew that brought me along with them to all of these events and taught me pretty much a lot of what I know about my car and about cars in general. And they are also the shop that works on all of my vehicles. So any kind of performance modifications that's done to my cars is all done by CT Performance, tuned by CT Performance. And got to give a shout out to the whole crew for sure that come out and support us every event, across the country.
No, thank you again so much, Hishy. And I had so much fun talking with you this evening. And again, like I said, I love cars. This was like the real Fast and Furious edition tonight. But I hope to come out and see you guys also, and anybody out there who's listening. He's got an event at the end of July. There's going to be the Woodward cruise coming up also, so keep him posted. Make sure to check him out on his Instagram, Facebook, all those really awesome things. And again, thank you so much for just giving us the time and just really fueling the mind, body, and soul with this kind of like inspirational discussion for anybody out there who's interested in taking on this sport. Thanks so much, Hishy, for joining us this evening. Yalla.
Yalla.
All right.